let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the Utah Jazz, shall we?
Yeah.
All right, let's first talk about Lauri Markkanen. I don't know about you, but I've been hearing a lot of trading rumors floating around with this guy's name attached to it.
Lots of stuff floating, and it's scary.
Yeah, so let's first discuss what I think should happen when it comes to Lauri Markkanen. Let's talk about possible extension. So this idea came from Ben Anderson of KSLSports.com. Lauri Markkanen is up for a max extension, which means he will be able to be worth 30% of the cap space with an 8% raise each season after that. Now, if he signs below the max, this would allow the Jazz to structure his contract a little bit better, where he would get 30% of the cap up front and then take a pay decrease in salary each year of up to 8%.
Right.
So this is the same thing that they did with JC. Jazz originally were set to pay him $14 million in the 2023-2024 season. However, they renegotiated that and tacked an extra $9 million, bringing that single year salary of last year up to $23 million. But the contract itself was still a 2-year contract extension, where they just took out the first year and stretched that and front loaded that contract last year versus spreading out this year.
Yep.
So with that around, with the projected $40 million of the salary cap coming into the space this summer, the Jazz could tack that unused salary back on Markkanen's existing $17 million contract that is owed for the 2024-2025 season. And that would be a nice incentive for him to sign an extension that would truly not begin until next summer. In this scenario, Markkanen will have a max 4-year deal that is worth somewhere in the ballpark of $200 million that will begin in the 2025-2026 season, with pay increase that summer, where the number could be worth north of $215 million, which will allow him to renegotiate a raise the next coming season.
Yeah. I think number one goal is to absolutely re-sign Lauri. I think you nailed it. I think they try to sign him for under a max so that they can decline his deal and front load some of it to save roster space, knowing that obviously in the future they're trying to build a team around him. So you're going to need some of that relief every single year, right? With Keontae George's current expectations, this dude is going to be demanding a contract here in the next couple of years. Obviously, he's on a rookie scale contract now. Right. We're going to want Keontae to stay around. The Jazz are in a great position because they do have salary cap. The question is, what moves do they make to get us to that next step? And is that next step the route we want the Jazz to go?
With that said, we know Lauri Markkanen is an elite off-the-ball shooter, scorer. You know, honestly, we know that Lauri Markkanen is not going to be the lead guy on a championship quality team, right?
Yep.
I mean, he is an all-star, but he is not the player that is going to lead this team to the promised land. So in that case, let's say the Jazz are ready to compete now. Let's say they need to bolster this team a little bit. With that said, there's a lot of trade rumors with Lauri Markkanen in him.
What is the asking price for Lauri? Yeah, if any team thinks that they're getting Lauri for a stud young player and a pick or two in the future, you're absolutely delusional. I don't see Danny Ainge moving away from the Lauri Markkanen project. The trade that I saw specifically was with Orlando. Orlando just had a first round exit. Anthony Black, who was their first round pick last year.
Okay.
Kid's a stud. I really liked him. I actually wanted the Jazz to pick him last year. He was my pick in last year's. Was Anthony Black.
Yeah, I remember that.
Really like him. And then if Orlando paired him with 4 first round picks, is that enough to move Lauri?
Depending on when those first round picks are, if they're their next 4 years.
Right.
I do like where you're going at with that, though, because I do like Black. I think he's an awesome player.
I think he's going to be really good. Yeah.
Good fit here in Utah.
Yeah.
Can you walk away from that deal? I don't know. 4 first rounds. It's depending on what years those first round picks are. If they're the next 4 years, then
Is Orlando too good to take their next 4 picks? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I don't see the next 2 or 3 years. If you make that trade for Lauri, they're going to be a perennial playoff team those next 4 years.
Right.
So those picks aren't going to be great. Now, again, none of them are going to be lottery picks anyway, but no one's going to trade a top 3 protected pick, especially with the next couple drafts coming up. So I don't know, man. That one's going to be tough. I don't know. I kind of like it.
I don't think you let him go for anything less than, even if it's not Orlando, but I don't think you let him go for anything less than a player like Anthony Black and 4 first round picks.
And I like it. I think it's a good idea. Let us know what you think, folks, in the comments down below about the trade with Orlando. 4 first round picks plus Black.
Is that something you explore? Do you say the Jazz take it?
Yeah, let us know. We'd love to hear from you on that one.
Yeah.
So you want to hear mine?
I do.
Okay, so this was one that came up actually a couple of weeks ago, probably no more than 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you ever heard of the Mind the Game podcast. Have you heard this?
No.
Okay, so this is a podcast led by future head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, JJ Redick.
Oh, geez.
And LeBron James.
I mean, I haven't heard of that podcast, but I have heard of this headline.
Okay.
And I heard how much LeBron James likes Lauri Markkanen.
Yes. So JJ brings up Lauri Markkanen, and without skipping a beat, LBJ goes straight into one of my favorites. He's been a LeBron supporter for a long time. I love that guy. He's so good. And he goes on to talk about how he wears LeBron shoes and stuff like that, which, believe it or not, I had never noticed, Yeah,
no.
So I did some digging on this, and looks like there are a few options to where the Jazz could actually, it's not necessarily a bad idea. First thing I want to do before we get into the trade is that LeBron doesn't do anything without intention.
Correct.
If you think JJ Redick on a random podcast just happened to bring up Lauri Markkanen because he likes the X's, that's what this podcast is. It's an X and O's type podcast.
Yeah.
With LeBron James and JJ Redick. If you think they just randomly picked, Lauri Markkanen out of the blue for this, you're like, come on now.
No.
This is LeBron James. Everything he does is calculated. I mean, like when he showed up on the courtside at the Cavs playoff game in the middle of the first quarter, not before the game, not up in the box anywhere. Middle of the first quarter, that was calculated. He wanted to get there when he wanted to get there. LeBron's not late for anything, and he wanted to be noticed. And that was just a sign to the Lakers to realize that he has options, and returning to Cleveland is definitely one of them. And Cleveland would love to have LeBron come back because the odds of them being able to sign Donovan Mitchell to an extension, knowing LeBron is on the team. I mean, look at it this way. If you take Cleveland without LeBron on the team, they are closer to winning a ring than the Lakers are with LeBron on the team. Right now. You got to just think about that for a second, that there's no way that they brought that up randomly.
I actually didn't think about that, but that is such a great point.
So, and to my mind, you got LeBron going to the Cleveland game, right? Which is basically his flex saying, hey, I have options here. I can opt into this.
Oh, yeah.
So during the draft, you need to make some moves before that if you want me to re-sign here. And he's up for a max extension. He wants that max money. He wants to stay in LA. So that's basically what he's doing. He's throwing the gauntlet saying, hey, I could go back to Cleveland if I want to have a better position than I have now. Lakers, you better do something. And then maybe a week before that, he's talking about the most tradable asset in the NBA right now, which is Lauri Markkanen, who has a sweet deal to trade for right now. He wants to win now. And think about it. Once LeBron leaves the Lakers, those draft picks are going to be amazing.
Oh, every Laker. And they're all over the place. I don't think the Lakers own any of their picks for the next 5 years, do they?
Actually, they do. They have 3 first-round picks they can trade. The Lakers want to keep LeBron. They can trade their 2024, 2025, 2029, and 2030. Now, the 2025, I believe, is already owned by the Jazz, but it's top 4 protected. You drop that top 4 protection on that pick, it's a really nice pick, right? You also have Austin Reeves, plenty of other young talent on that team that you can also throw into that. So imagine 3 first-round Laker picks over the next 3 years after LeBron's gone are probably going to be dynamite picks plus young talent. I think that's worth the Jazz should consider. We've gone on record quite a bit on this when we talk about Danny Ainge and going big game hunting during that whole locker room clean out interview that you did, right?
Yeah.
So you and I think there's just not enough out there right now to really make the Jazz a contender, especially if you give up Lauri Markkanen in this process.
Right.
So that's why this trade makes sense. If the Lakers want to keep LeBron, you trade those 3 picks and, a young talent player or 2 to get Lauri Markkanen that would push you over the edge and kind of give you another shot at a legit championship. I don't know. I think it's a good trade.
Yeah. I mean, Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, he can be very effective. That's a big lineup with LeBron, Anthony Davis, Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah.
Depending on which other guys you keep out of that, like that is a lot of scoring.
Yes.
And the best part is Lauri doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective.
No.
He's willing to be out on the wing and let LeBron drive in. And, if you don't go in and double LeBron, he's got easy buckets all night. And as soon as you try to switch it up and double him or double, AD, like Lauri's okay to just sit there and shoot threes all day.
These are just hypotheticals, folks. Please let us know in the comments down below. Do you like the Lakers trade? Is there a trade that you heard of that we missed? Please let us know in the comments down below. We'd love to chat with you about it.
This is available as a podcast, audio only. We'll put a link somewhere on the screen. Make sure you check it out. Give us a like, follow, comment, review, all of the cool stuff.
Absolutely. Not everything we talk about makes it to these videos. So if you want to see the full episode of what we talked about, that's where you find it.
Yep,
for sure. Keep in mind, folks, we did just, if you're watching this on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap, we did just launch Utah Jazz DNA. Link to that channel will be in the description below. Make sure that you like that channel. Make sure you subscribe to that channel. We'll be doing a giveaway on that channel as well. We'd love to get your input on what you want that giveaway to be. Maybe a Jazz jersey, which player jersey you'd like us to give away, something like that. We'd love to hear from you. Make sure you subscribe to that channel if the Jazz content is what you are looking after.
Yep, absolutely. It's going to be a good one. Lots of good content coming on that channel.
With all that said, my name is Darren. That is AJ. And this has been the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.